everyone, welcome to Storytime this week. Today we are going to be looking at the word 5. We had some more counting stories just like we did last week. So before we get into them, let's go ahead and take a look at our letters. We've got the word 5 up here, and that's this number right here. This one that goes over, down, and then swoops around like that. And so, like I said, we're going to have some counting stories, and let's take a look at the letters that make up the word 5. First, we've got our F here, and that makes the F sound, like fun or family. Then we've got the I here, and in this word, it's going to make the I sound. It's going to say its own name. Mr. E over here likes to play tricks sometimes on some other letters. So he jumps over the V and he scares Miss I into saying her own name. So she goes, I. And that is the sound like we hear in ice cream or idea. Now we've got our V, and that's always a fun one. It makes the V sound like vroom or van. And our E is going to be quiet. It's not going to make any sound because remember, it jumped out of its place and scared the I to say its name. So if we sound it out, we're going to go F, I, V, and then sh for our E. 5. Beautiful, guys. Well, we have some great stories, but before we do that, we're going to do our hello song. And remember, it's going to go, hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It's time to say hello. Ready? Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It's time to say hello. Okay, well, our very first story is a brand new one, and it is all about a princess and a wizard. So, once upon a time, there was a beautiful and smart princess who lived with her father in a beautiful castle. But one day, an angry dragon came and burned their castle to pieces. So the princess and her father had nowhere to go. So they started wandering through the woods to try and find themselves a new home. They went into the woods and hoped to come out on the other side of it. But what they didn't know was that in that woods, there was a magical wizard. As the princess and her father, the king, were walking, they came upon the wizard, and he took his staff and he went, "Halt! Stop right there. These are my woods, and nobody passes without my permission." Well, the princess asked for permission for her and her father to go through the woods. But the wizard saw how beautiful the princess was and decided he wanted to keep her forever. Well, the princess didn't want to stay with that wizard. She wanted to stay with her father. So the wizard decided to make a deal with her. He said, "I will give you 1 year with your father, and to make that time more enjoyable, to make your last year special, I will grant you 5 wishes throughout the year. But after that, you've got to come live in the forest with me." Well, the princess thought about this for a little bit, and she agreed. So the wizard sent them on their way out of the forest, and the princess asked for her first wish. She said, "Since our house and all of our belongings were burned by the dragon, I would like a new castle to live in." So the wizard granted her first wish and gave her a brand new castle to live in, and it was full of all of the things that castles have, ready to go. Well, a little while passed, and the princess, she was thinking. She was very smart, and she was thinking carefully about her wishes. And she said, for her second wish, since her first castle had burned down by a dragon, she would like a new dragon, but one that would defend her castle. So the wizard granted her her second wish. So we've got one wish for the castle here, and a second wish for a dragon to guard the castle. The princess wanted to use her wishes carefully, so she decided she was going to wait a little bit for wish number 3. But after a while, she had thought and thought, and she asked the wizard to give her a horse so that she could go riding. But not just any horse. This would be the fastest horse in the land. And so the wizard agreed and decided he was going to give her the fastest horse, not just in the land, but that there ever was. Well, the princess now had a beautiful home to live in, a very ferocious guard dragon, but who was very nice to her, and the fastest horse so that she could go out riding and enjoy the area by the castle. But she had been thinking about her third wish, and she decided she wanted a pet. She was going to get herself a pet rabbit. But not just any rabbit. This rabbit would have the biggest ears you had ever seen on a rabbit. And so the wizard granted her fourth wish and gave her a rabbit with the biggest ears. So let's see, guys, how many wishes have we used? We've got 1 for the castle, 2 for our dragon, 3 for our horse, and 4 for our pet rabbit. Well, this last wish was going to be the princess's last, so she wanted to make it a really good one. Because after this wish, her year was going to be up and the wizard was going to come for her. So the princess thought and thought and thought. And she decided she was going to wish for a knight to be her friend. A brave knight who was the most skilled fighter in the entire land. And so the wizard granted her wish and brought her the bravest, most skilled fighter to be her friend and live in the castle. Well, the princess and the knight had a lot in common, and they decided they were just going to be the best of friends. But pretty soon it was time for the wizard to come back and get her. But the princess was out on a ride, and she saw the wizard come back to try and claim her. But she was on the fastest horse in the land and made it all the way back to the castle in time. Well, the wizard wasn't able to take her from her horse, so he decided he was going to take her from the castle. Well, the princess's guard dragon decided that was not going to happen, and he defended the castle and drove the wizard off. But lastly, the wizard decided he was going to try and use his magic to get inside the castle. So he magicked himself in the castle where the princess was waiting nice and safely. But the princess had her pet rabbit, and its big ears heard that wizard coming. So the princess ran and found her best friend the knight. And together they stood up against the wizard, and the knight was able to break the wizard's magical staff when he came close. They were fighting, and the knight, with his amazing sword skills, whacked the staff, and it broke. and the wizard had no more magic. The princess had used her 5 wishes to think of ways that she could outsmart the wizard and get out of the bargain she had made with him. She wished for a safe and secure home, and a ferocious dragon to protect it, and a fast horse to run away from him, and a bunny with giant ears to hear him coming, and a brave knight who was a wonderful warrior to help her beat the wizard. And so, with no magic, the wizard left and went all the way back to his forest and lived there in a hut, and everyone else lived inside the castle happily ever after. The end. Well, what I like about that story is how smart the princess was. She was thinking long term, and she thought and thought and thought very carefully about those wishes, about what would help her be able to stay with her father and not go with the wizard. But since we're doing counting stories again this week, let's use the same song that we used last week. And so remember, we're going to use our fingers and count. So go ahead and feel free to put your fingers up with me. And remember, last week our song went like this. It went, I can count 1, 2, see. Here are my fingers, 1, 2, 3. 4 and 5, this hand is done. And now I'll do the other one. 6, 7, 8, and 9. One more finger, we're feeling fine. The last little finger is number 10. And now we count all over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, guys, do you think you want to go ahead and do that with me? All right, get your fingers ready. I can count 1, 2, see. Here are my fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This hand is done. And now let's do the other one. 6, 7, 8, and 9. One more finger, and we're feeling fine. Last little finger is number 10. And now we count all over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great job, guys. Well, our last story is also going to be a song. And we've done this one before. But we're going to do 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. I bet a lot of you guys know this song. I bet a lot of you guys have tried jumping on your bed too, which is pretty fun, but we shouldn't do it because it can be dangerous. So let's get our monkeys up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5 right here. All right, guys, are we ready to do our counting? We're going to go 5. We're going to go backwards. We're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Everybody ready? 5 little monkeys are jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. Well, now we've got 4 little monkeys jumping on the bed, but one fell off, bumped his head. Ouch. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. 3 little monkeys jumping on the bed, but one fell off and bumped her head. Ouch. So Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. 2 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped their head. But Mama called the doctor, And the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. Well, now we've got one little monkey jumping on the bed, but he fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor. The doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. And now we've got zero. We've got 0 monkeys jumping on the bed and no one to fall off and bump their head. So Mama didn't have to call the doctor, and the doctor didn't have to tell her no more monkeys jumping on the bed. All right, guys, that's all we've got for today for story time. So thank you so much for watching, but we are going to want to do our goodbye song now. And remember, it's going to go, goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. It's time to say goodbye. All right, ready? Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. It's time to say goodbye. Bye, everybody.